Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Evolvepreneur Secret Show for entrepreneurs, and I'm your host, Brian Silverthorne. And it's always my mission to help entrepreneurs make the difference they want to make in their businesses and to navigate the sometimes messy worlds of startup and growth or relaunch. And today we're going to dig deep with our guest to get you some great concepts and strategies to fast track your business. And our special guest today is Regina Gulbinas. Welcome to the show. And Regina was a corporate turnaround specialist for 17 years and then expanded into the online space. So I'm sure she's got a lot of things to help that will benefit all of us. So welcome, Regina.
Thank you. I'm excited for the conversation.
Great. So where are you hanging out today?
I'm in California.
Oh, you are. So
Yeah,
we're
California.
both in the same side of the world.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to do this all in 10 minutes or less. I've got some questions that we'll get through here where we'll start right now. So what made you decide to get into this particular form of your business right now?
Uh, just you talking about online space or corporate turnaround?
Well, what you're doing now, I guess the online space or even the transition would be fine.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I used to work with a mentor. Grateful for the experience, but I think it was time to transition. It was time to just part ways, and that's really how things happened. But 6 months prior to that, I already had a desire to shift into the online space. Um, I just wanted, in full transparency, I wanted a little bit more time and location and space freedom, to be honest with you. Corporate turnaround is a whole different animal, a lot of chaos, a lot of stress, a lot of everything. And while I'm in love with it, and I have people calling me, trying to get me back into the, former clients, I've taken on a few. Ultimately, I think I was ready for a little bit something slower pace.
Okay, I fully understand. There's a lot to be said to having some personal time freedom that you have control over. So now
Mhm.
that you've done this, what does your ideal client look like?
Well, I work with both men and female and male CEOs, online entrepreneurs, a lot of coaches, but more position myself as a female, uh, helping females. I think it's just easier to position, but the men do reach out because just by my messaging and the presentation, the information. Um, online businesses. Online businesses. If you're a real life CEO, if you understand what it takes, if you're willing to put skin in the game, what you sell at the end of the day doesn't matter. It's a business. It's a business is a business.
Right, exactly. So what's the biggest problem you solve for your clients?
Oh, it's interesting with the online space, especially in the coaching space. People think the online business is a different business. They think it's a whole different animal. However, it's a business. So I think the initial challenges is to teaching them that you're a CEO. You're not a coach. You're not just a service provider. You're not just that one thing. You're first and foremost the business owner. So you have to put that hat on and make decisions from that perspective.
That's a good point because there's a lot of people in the coaching and other spaces that focus on the services they offer rather than the fact that they got a business to run. So that's good that you're doing that. So before people reach out for help, they usually are experiencing some difficulties or symptoms. What are the symptoms that your clients are experiencing that cause them to reach out to you?
So in the online space, women and clients just reach out because they want to grow their business. I don't necessarily just do the turnaround online. I mean, I actually just scaling a lot of our new businesses, but the offline, it's interesting. Women are so much better at asking for help than men are. It's a fact. I've watched it for almost 20 years. Typically, when they're out of cash, they're out of juice, they're out of everything, they're no longer bankable, and they're like, wait a minute, like I think there is a problem here. And that's when they start looking looking online for the person who can save them, get them out of the fire.
Well, yeah, it's good that they're asking. And as a man, I do not take offense to that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Women are much better at asking for help.
Yep.
We have this misguided deal that we think we can handle it all ourselves and hang on too long. So we got about 6 minutes. We're going good. So when you start working with your clients, what's the most common mistakes that you discover they're making?
The biggest thing is going back to the initial question of the biggest challenge is the most common mistake is they just want to do what they want to do. They just want to sell what they want to sell. They lack the infrastructure and they lack the understanding of the infrastructure. And especially where there's a lot of one man, one woman bands, so to speak, in the online space, the challenge is teaching them that you got to stack your knowledge. You can't, if you don't have the resources to have an infrastructure in your business, you can't just know how to do one thing. You have to know how to read your numbers. You have to know how to do marketing. You have to know how to do sales. You have to know how to create content. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to create client retention rate. Like, you got to stack your knowledge.
That's an interesting phrase. I like that. Stack your knowledge. I'm going to borrow that.
Please.
But don't you find it too that some people stack too much knowledge and not depend on others, which goes back to the category of not asking for help?
Yeah, but often it happens because it's lack of self-trust. It's lack of self-trust. I'm afraid to invest into more support. What if I don't get my money back? A lot of it comes from fear. A lot of it comes from fear. A lot of it comes from what if I ask people to do certain things to help me and they find out I'm not as great as I think I am. So a lot of it is just self-preservation. But again, going back to a real CEO, somebody who's like a real CEO mentality style, we understand what it takes. So in my mind, it's easier for me to make money than do 90% of the things I need to do in my business, right? So I'd rather go make some more money and pay someone else to do it because we want to move through things fast. There is no medal for doing it all yourself.
That's very true. There isn't. It's how much money you make in a year and how much of it you get to keep. Those are the only rewards there, plus the satisfaction you get from doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, if someone is considering reaching out to you, what's one action that they could take right now that would help them out? Maybe not solve all their problems, but give them a good start.
Be clear. First of all, be here for the long-term game. People want the win. People hate the game. You got to fall in love with the game. You're not going to win if you don't like the game. This is a grind. This is a business. People want to, have to understand this. A lot of people just want the win. They want the sale. They want the love from the social media. They want all those things. And they hate the game on a daily basis because you have to show up and you have to do a lot of things, especially when it comes to the online space. Like, you're in a global platform and everybody's watching. And so you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to know that you're a CEO. You have to fall in love with the game. You have to have a long-term vision, because unless you do, the vision can shift over time. But if you don't have any idea what you want, every single time you see a different process, a different way, you're going to be like a squirrel all over the place. That's not a business.
Right, right. Well, there's another nifty little phrase you gave me is love the game. I like that. I've heard that in a number of different ways, but that's good. So when people are experience problems and they want your help, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, first and last name. Just Regina
Okay.
Gulbinas. Super easy. I keep everything basic, simple.
That's good. That's the best way to do it. Okay, so we got a couple of minutes left here. Since all entrepreneurs have challenges, even the ones that are 6, 7, 8-figure earners, right now, if there is one, what's the biggest problem that needs to be addressed in your business?
The biggest problem. I am learning to get, in full transparency, I am learning to get better at sales and social media because I'm an introvert by nature. And I have spent almost 2 decades being the CEO behind the CEO. I've been behind the scenes. I'm not a personality that needs my ego stroked, that it's I do all the things. It's all me. I'm okay with clients taking the credit. I'm very comfortable behind the scenes. It's just, I love navigating the whole circus, the whole show behind the scenes, and coming into the online space. So still getting comfortable with it.
Okay. Well, you don't seem very introverted, so you're doing a good job with this. All right, we got a couple minutes left. What's one question I should have asked you that I didn't ask?
Oh my God, I don't know. I do so much better like direct question answer, but not. I think the truth behind building an online business. I think there's a lot of misleading information. There's a lot of misconception about really what it takes. There is a lot of people selling the idea that it's you can take this one course or this one program and you start making insane amounts of money, and everybody just comes at you and throws bags of money at you. The biggest lie in the online space, I think, is the fact that it's easy. And I think it's easier because we get to make money using our cell phone from our back pocket. I think that makes it easier. But the misconception is it's still a business. And a lot of people really struggle with that concept.
Good. Well, that's great advice. I'm glad I didn't ask that question because you answered it extremely well. And I think we'll use that advice to wrap things up. So, folks, that's a wrap for another great guest episode of the Evolvepreneur Secret Show for entrepreneurs. And if you enjoyed it, before you leave, why don't you give us a 5-star rating and consider maybe sharing it with a couple of friends. And if you want to make sure you catch all the Evolvepreneur Secrets shows, go to evolvepreneursecrets.show and you can sign up there. And if you're an entrepreneur, let's get your greatest next idea out there today. Thanks.